Now, speaking of patronising, left-wing, identity politics-obsessed people like Barack Obama and Kamala Harris, we have plenty of them right here in Australia. And they were on full display this week as the anniversary of the Voice referendum passed. Once again telling us that the reason we rejected the idea of putting a racist entire new chapter based on race in our constitution was because we're racist.
To alter the constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Do you approve this proposed alteration?
Yeah, nah, he lost me at to alter the constitution. And adding a whole chapter to our constitution is hardly a tiny small change, Albo, or an alteration, as he tried to convince us in a campaign of massive disinformation and misinformation. But apparently it wasn't our ability to see through the lies and vote 60-40 against this horrible idea. It was that we had been the victims of disinformation and misinformation ourselves, which is why we're now being punished with proposed new laws to ensure that their lies can't be challenged by the light of truth. And they don't like that much. Just like Barack Obama, it's tantrum time when the left authoritarians don't get their own way. Voice co-architect Professor Tom Calmer told ABC's 7:30 Report program that the no vote has made everyone more racist.
Now, what we've found, and we've reported on this, is that there's been a higher level of racism and racial slurs, both on social media and quite openly. And it's like as if people think that they've now got a licence to have a go. And
that's changed since the referendum.
Yes, it has increased. And, it's always been around, but it seems to be much more, prevalent now, particularly on social media.
Better regulate social media. Better bring in some misinformation, disinformation laws so nobody can shine the light of truth on our lies anymore. It's funny, isn't it, when you try to push race-based ideas onto a society of generally very nice, not at all racist people like Australians, the more extreme, nastier types will be emboldened to push back on you and maybe attack you not very politely. Maybe don't drive identity politics victimhood and race-based ideas in the first place. That might help, especially in a country where taxpayers already spend $40 billion a year more on our Indigenous community than other Australians. God forbid there should be any gratitude for the fact that we are clearly not a racist bunch.
More worrying for me is, I'm worried about that, but is the way the opposition is saying that they now have a mandate to review and play with Indigenous programs.
They want an audit of
They want to audit all the
programs
bodies. They're talking about all programs actually, and all statutory organisations, and so that's a real concern.
Oh, it's a real concern, all right, if people are ripping off taxpayers and the results don't match the levels of funding being taken. The opposition's Senator Jacinta Price wants that review so that she can get the money out of the hands of the grifters living large off the fat of a bloated bureaucracy and put it back where it is needed in feeding and educating and housing people in disadvantaged regional communities. God forbid you should have to undergo an audit like everybody else in the world has to. The Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians told Sky News that there were a number of reasons why Australia voted no to the Voice to Parliament.
I think there was very little detail for people to understand exactly the consequences of what the Voice might be. I think Australians didn't want to be divided along the lines of race within our constitution, and saw a whole lot of red flags that weren't, their concerns weren't quelled by the Yes campaign at all.
She's a bloody smart and articulate woman, is Senator Price, and she's called out the left's patronising nonsense too.
I think the fact that Australians were told they'd be on the wrong side of history, that that they were racist, calling people names isn't the way to go if you want their support. And I think there are a lot of concerned Indigenous Australians that we didn't necessarily see out in public, but thought that how is this bureaucracy going to be any different to any other bureaucracy? And concerns that were raised with me were around, well, it's just going to create more division within our communities and families, and who gets the powerful positions and that sort of thing.
Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians and future Prime Minister, I hope, Senator Jacinta Price, speaking to Sky News. She says the idea of a legislated voice, as we've seen in some state parliaments, a voice imposed by law and legislation, is a step in the wrong direction, and the focus now needs to turn to achieving tangible outcomes for marginalised Indigenous Australians. Despite the fact that Australians voted 60-40 against the voice and 70-30 in some states like Queensland, and the only place that voted for it was the ACT, the bureaucrat city of Canberra, at 60-40 in favour, showing how out of touch our federal bureaucrats in Canberra really are with the rest of the people of this nation. These state governments continue to persist with legislated voice-style initiatives, again sending a message that our elected leaders do not care about responding to what we say and serving us, but they very wrongly think they're there to rule over us. Here at The Other Side, we do not get more than $1 billion of taxpayer money like the ABC does to waste on fun stuff that we and our friends like while ignoring the public that we're supposed to serve. We have to rely on your support of this show. But I also hate asking for charity. So we've done a deal with what I think is the best VPN service in the world so that you can support this show and get excellent value for yourself in return. Private Internet Access VPN is a virtual private network. You download their app onto your phone, your TV, your computer, whatever you use, and it'll route all your data through a different server location so that you can't be tracked by the prying eyes of big government and big corporations. It keeps you and your family truly safe, and it will not massively slow down your internet speeds or make it harder to use your devices like some VPNs do. Private Internet Access, PIA VPN, is quick and easy to install, and once you've downloaded it, that's pretty much it. You can sign up using our special Other Side code for less than $3 a month. Unbelievable. That is a whopping 83% off the normal price, and you'll get the first 4 months free, and you will be helping our show a lot. So get onto it, piavpn.com/otherside to get the special deal. And get this, if you've got a Netflix account, by signing on through a server in another country to Netflix, like the US, for example, you'll get access to that country's library of Netflix shows on your account as if you were in that country, which is also great if you want Netflix in a different language or something. piavpn.com/otherside. If you like that clip, there's more where that came from in our full show, The Other Side. You can watch it right here, the latest episode. And please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button right here or down here. And remember to click that notification bell too. It all helps. Join us and become part of The Other Side.